So, if you're in a submarine on active service and you see something like that, do you have to treat it as a potential threat, or are you just going to say, that's interesting? But I have to ask, are the FBI padding their files out with this stuff? Does this merit further investigation? I mean, do we have the scientific tools to investigate this further? Or will we have to wait until this is all cleared up with an Einstein-level breakthrough, which changes our understanding of the nature of the universe and our place within it? But the bigger question is, why are they releasing all this now and in this way?
Welcome back to Aliens Explored. My name's Stu Jackson, and today we're looking at Neil's response to my video last week about the PURSUE files and my picks for what I thought was the most interesting amongst them from all three tranches. So I said at the time that Neil would be undoubtedly giving his response. So, without further ado, here's Neil.
Thank you very much, Stu, for that very detailed and in-depth look at the recently released PURSUE files. Yes, I am going to respond on a case-by-case basis, but what I have is, for the most part, further clarification, as well as a few questions. Questions that I do actually want answers to, by the way. I'm not just being rhetorical here.
Well, as you have asked so very nicely, Neil, absolutely, I will answer where I possibly can. I can't promise I'll have answers for everything, of course, but I will interject throughout the video as we go.
So let's kick off with tranche number 1, released on the 8th of May 2026, what Stu describes as the most significant case factory in the whole archive. DOW UAP PR049. You describe this as an army designation, but I'm guessing that DOW stands for the Department of War. It used to be the War Department, WD, before it became the Department of Defense, DOD, sometime in the 1960s, I think. Pete Hegseth only recently renamed it the Department of War, which implies that these file designations have only recently been created. It's ironic, given that Hegseth serves a president who was elected on the promise of no more wars, but arguably more honest, given that we all know the purpose of the US military, in our lifetimes at least, has been to start and then lose wars. Donald Trump did indeed promise an end to forever wars, as he called them, and he has kind of made good on that promise. Instead of getting his forces bogged down in a bloody stalemate for decades on end, he has led them to a catastrophic defeat within a matter of weeks.
Yep, you are absolutely correct. DOW does stand for Department of War in this instance. I can't remember referring to it as Army, but if I did, I meant the Department of War. I meant the military, basically. So yeah, yes, it does mean Department of War.
So DOW UAP PR049. This is the one with what looks like twin headlights moving erratically in the sky. What I would question is that, what with the sky being completely black with no physical points of reference visible, couldn't it just as easily have been the camera wobbling around while the lights maintained a fixed position in the sky? As Stu says, this is not significant in itself, but we should take it seriously because it sits within the wider US case cluster, as he calls it. So are you simply saying that we should take it more seriously because the government seems to be taking it seriously?
So, yes, you're absolutely correct with PR049. It's significant because the Department of War are taking it seriously and because they are unable to explain it after their own analysis, which you can be absolutely sure is far more in-depth than anything we can do as from our armchairs, basically.
Up next is DOW UAP PR036, titled Middle East Unresolved UAP Report May 2020. I didn't really understand what I was looking at. It features a dot of light moving around what looks like some kind of stencil.
So with this one, you've got to remember you're not looking at a normal camera like I'm recording with here. This looks to me to be very much like a FLIR cam, forward-looking infrared. So it's a heat map. And with these, it can be either way, either the lighter the colour, the hotter it is, or the lighter the colour, the colder it is, and vice versa. The darker it is, the colder, or the darker, the hotter. But looking at this particular one, I would say the lighter the colour, the colder. Although I couldn't guarantee that. So, yeah, you say it looks like a stencil. That's probably why, is because it's a heat map that we're looking at. Or if you're referring to the black boxes that you see around the screen, that's redacted information. So obviously, when the various government bodies have been releasing these files, they've been checking and redacting anything that they feel might cause a compromise to national security.
This could be anything, but Stu says this gives us something to test. My question is, how far can we test this? And more importantly, has anyone actually started the process of testing this?
Has anyone started testing? Yes, the Department of War have analysed all these files, all this footage, and done their best to explain it where they possibly can. And they're stumped. Hence UAP, it's unidentified.
On to the documents. The Western US event file. Stu says this is one of the most essential documents in the whole archive because it turns the case from a rumour into an official case family. This is the one featuring orbs launching other orbs. A big red orb launching clusters of little orange orbs. The red orb remains stationary over a ridgeline, while the orange orbs fly around all over the place. This was witnessed by 7 federal employees with multiple observations over 2 days in 2023, leading to a structured official summary and further analytical treatment. As Stu concedes, it could still be drones, flares, misperception, etc., but it is harder to dismiss than a single witness. USPER statement about UAP sighting based on an interview with an intelligence official following a first-hand UAP encounter. This implies that it was the intelligence official himself who had the first-hand UAP encounter, but doesn't say so explicitly. USPER, or USPER, stands for US person and covers a larger group than just American citizens, as it includes some green card and visa holders. So what's the difference between a green card or visa holder who is a USPER and one who isn't? I'm sure it's just a bit of bureaucracy, but I'd just like to clarify that. Is this senior intelligence official named? It wouldn't happen to be David Grush, would it? I think we should be told, because that would mean the information about the encounter was definitely second-hand. As I'm sure our viewers and listeners are aware, I find David Grush to be not a credible witness. But even if it's someone else, this still just seems to be testimony without evidence to back it up.
So in this report, we don't really know who it is that's making the report. I think it's very, very unlikely to be David Grush. But what it is, this is a direct witness that is being interviewed. So you're getting basically first-hand witness testimony, albeit through a reporting system.
On to the second tranche of PURSUE material, released on the 22nd of May. This is based on documents, many of which were found on classified networks and lack a substantiated chain of custody. DOW UAP PR067 is titled Multiple Spherical UAP USO near sub, call sign redacted 220305. So this is in and out of water transmedium behaviour with objects alternating between flying in the sky and diving underwater. So if you're in a submarine on active service and you see something like that, do you have to treat it as a potential threat, or are you just going to say, that's interesting, I've never seen anything like that before? Where was the sub at the time of the sighting? If the call sign was redacted, that probably means we're not allowed to know.
Yep, you're absolutely right. The location is redacted. Again, they do this for what they claim to be reasons of national security, and without knowing what the location is, it's impossible to verify or deny that. So I think with something like that, we just got to take their word for it.
As always, with these kinds of sightings, the military always have to consider the possibility that this is something of terrestrial origin and could well be hostile. I would wager it is also something with which the submarine is ill-equipped to engage. They don't have a weapon that could shoot down something like that. So it remaining a UAP is a kind of a best case scenario for the crew, I guess.
So UAPs outmaneuvering our technology is actually a very, very common thing to happen, and this is just one example of that. I think it's very, very telling that the government have analysed this. They're seeing this amazing manoeuvrability, this amazing technology, and they can't explain it.
As Stu says, it's the kind of video which makes us say, show us the rest. Show us the raw data. Show us the targeting data. Alternatively, show us the Epstein files. The second video in this tranche is DOW UAP PR071. This is the Lake Huron F-16 shootdown footage from 12th of February 2023. I agree with Stu that this looks like a balloon just from the way it bursts. This was actually right after the hysteria following the alleged Chinese spy balloon, which overflew the northern USA from west to east between 28th of January and the 4th of February that same year. Which probably explains why it so quickly came to the attention of US air defences. I bet someone lost their job over the spy balloon incident, and their successor didn't want to suffer the same fate. So that's how it it reached the level of military engagement so quickly. Also, as to why this might be included amongst material relating to the truly mysterious, I think they're just including everything. The documents from Tranche 2, starting with ODNI UAP D001. I'm taking this as simply being document number 1. The ODNI is the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. It is a senior level agency that provides oversight to the intelligence services, intelligence community. The document title is USPER Narrative from a Senior USIC Official. How senior are we talking? In the British Army, for instance, a senior officer would be at least the rank of major. This is, quote, one of the strongest witness documents in the public archive, according to Stu. This is a statement by a senior officer involved in a helicopter search following the sighting of the orbs. This time we have data and video footage to accompany the testimony. I agree with Stu though, not proof, but not nothing, does kind of sum up the PURSUE archive. The next document is DOW UAP D017. The title is UAPs reported at Sandia Base 1948 to 1950. And I found this one particularly interesting too. It looks like the document actually dates from that time, as it is clearly typewritten on yellowing paper. Sandia Base is located on the southeastern edge of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Historically, this was a top secret atomic weapons installation. The historic Sandia, I think that's how it's pronounced, Sandia Base, merged with Kirtland Air Force Base in 1971. Today, the site operates as Sandia National Laboratories. Roswell, New Mexico, for reference, is approximately 201 to 214 miles, or 323 to 344 kilometres for our European friends, from the historic Sandia Base. The infamous Roswell crash occurred in late June 1947, with the military first announcing the recovery of a flying disc on July the 8th, 1947. So this historic document takes us right back to the dawn of UFOs in the 20th century. And so on to the third tranche of PURSUE material, released on the 12th of June 2026. We start with FBI UAP PR003, Orbs Over the Pond in 2024. This is footage captured by a civilian on their iPhone, but later authenticated by the US military. The second is FBI UAP PR004. This is the July 2025 case involving an intense bright light that hovered approximately 25 feet above the ground in northeastern USA. Again, this is footage captured by a civilian, which has credibility because the government is taking it seriously. I know that it's only in recent years that the average civilian has readily had to hand the means to capture video footage. So, of course, there won't be a lot, if any, historic footage. But I have to ask, are the FBI padding their files out with this stuff?
Are the FBI padding out files? Could very, very well be. I'll come on to that a little bit later in the video as well.
DOW UAP D077, titled Arrow Unresolved Case Analysis, Western United States event. Orbs releasing orbs again over sensitive military sites. Witnessed by several US government agents. Does this merit further investigation? I mean, do we have the scientific tools to investigate this further? Or will we have to wait until this is all cleared up with an Einstein-level breakthrough, which changes our understanding of the nature of the universe and our place within it? FBI UAP D002, titled FD1057, Unresolved UAP Report, Colorado Springs 2022. This is a narrative which led to a rendering. So does that mean someone described something and someone else drew it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is basically an artist's impression of what has been described, kind of like a photo fit, if you will. Rendering just means it's not a physical artist, I guess. I might be wrong. But yeah, it is a drawing of what was seen.
Yes, Stu, I agree with you that these files and videos show that the US government, in its various incarnations, has taken probably more interest in UAP or UFO sightings than we might have previously realised. But the bigger question is, why are they releasing all this now and in this way? If this is preparing the ground for Disclosure Day, getting us all to brace ourselves for the big event, it's not very effective. Only a relatively small number of people are going to take an interest at this level of detail. Steven Spielberg has been doing a much better job of raising this kind of awareness for decades now.
It's an interesting point, and I'm sure the vast majority of our listeners would absolutely love for Donald Trump or any world leader to stand there and say, yeah, here are the bodies, wheel out the bodies, wheel out the craft. But that's not how disclosure is going to happen, as much as we might want it to. It's going to happen step by step, inch by inch. And that I honestly feel that's what we're on the road to.
Which leads me to ask, is this material, all these documents, these reports, these testimonies, this scientific data, these videos and photos and renderings, all they've actually got? Just piles and piles of the stuff, but no actual crashed UFO technology, no non-human collaboration at their most secretive and sensitive sites. I agree with Stu that this is indeed not nothing, but it makes me wonder if maybe there's nothing else. As prominent popular scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson recently said, just show me the spaceship.
Is this all they've got? Well, this relates into your earlier question about the FBI padding files, I think. No, absolutely it is not everything they've got. And they can claim that it is till they're blue in the face. We know that this is not all that they have. However, looking on the other side of this, you have to bear in mind, it wasn't even 10 years ago that the US government was still denying very vehemently that they were doing any investigations into UFOs, UAP. They were laughing at the concept of it, not even 10 years ago. So to have come to this point where you have acknowledged departments investigating it, even if they are counterintelligence and just, dare to sell the party line, as it were, the fact that they're acknowledging that a department exists and they are putting out files where investigations have clearly taken place, going back decades and decades. I think I understand the frustration. Yes, we want it all. We want it now. That's not how it's going to happen, though. But look at what we are getting. We are getting acknowledgement that there is a credible, unexplained phenomena going on. That is that's a quantum leap on where we were a very short while ago in terms of disclosure. So I see it as a big positive. It's becoming harder and harder. I feel quite sorry for Neil in many ways, because as a skeptic, in the face of this, a government saying, yeah, there is a phenomena, we acknowledge there's a phenomena, it's becoming harder and harder to deny that there is a phenomena. So yeah, very, very interesting times. I'm hoping we haven't seen the last of the files being released. I'm hoping there's going to be a tranche 4 and beyond as well. You guarantee that we will be watching for that here on Aliens Explored. So there we have it. Do let us know what you think about our arguments, about the files that have been released. Do let us know what you think in the comments below. If you have any direct questions as well for Neil or I or both of us, do put those in there. We want your questions. I'd like to include a section each week answering your questions, but we can't do that if you don't put questions to us. So comments below. You can find us in all the usual podcast places, but do make a point of going to our YouTube channel as well, Aliens Explored Podcast, and find us there. Give us a cheeky like and a subscribe. We will very much appreciate it. So until next time, take care for now and keep watching the skies.